Hello.
Hello,
Hi, how's it going?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview.
No problem.
Oh, awesome. Well, it's great to be able to talk to you and talking about this amazing new album, Slain in the Spear, coming out on Friday through Candlelight Records.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the kind words. We're very excited for the release, and it's my pleasure to talk with you about it.
Oh, awesome. Well, I've had the pleasure to be able to check out this album over the last few days, and it just covers everything that I enjoy in the black metal realms. I mean, no matter how raw it gets, no matter how technical it gets, emotional, melodic, I mean, there's so many great moments that are packed into this, and it all fits together so well. And it's great to see over the course of now 4 albums to see the band this tight and everything going forward in 2021.
Mm. Well, I'm really glad that you enjoyed all those aspects. I guess I feel the same way about it as a long time fan of black metal and extreme metal. I think one thing that keeps these genres so exciting is actually the breadth of it. I mean, I know there are a lot of people in the scene that believe there's only one way of doing things, and if you stretch out and change things, then you're not really doing it anymore. And well, I don't really care so much about that if they want things to stay linear and sound the same as they always have, then we're not the band for them. Instead, we're fans of the genre, we're fans of various genres, and so what was really cool about doing Slain in the Spirit is that I think as time's progressed, we've become better at what we're doing, so it's easier to integrate different influences and learn how to transition between different sounds and still keep things cohesive, which is something you seem to have picked up on. So I'm relieved that you didn't find the genre mixing too jarring. And I guess ultimately the reason behind that is we don't do anything like for the sake of it. We're always thinking, okay, what turn can the song take now, and how can this feed the lyric and concept or whatever. So it really is trying to get a diverse array of influences that we like and that we want to do, and try and channel them through what we consider to be the Necronautical sound, I suppose. And we're super happy with how the album came out because of that, because it really touches on a lot of the sounds that we love as well. And so it's great to be able to put something like that out.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the most important thing about it is playing the music that you want to be able to play. And you can definitely hear throughout the album, it's just like the mix of influences that are going on, and especially the musicality that's going on between everyone in the band, and just hearing how tight everyone is together. It's just like you can tell that everyone is enjoying being able to create this album.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I guess from a more personal angle, you want to enjoy it, man. Like being a musician, well, hell, it's very rare that's going to be someone's job. We're doing this as a project of passion, a project of love, as many people out there are. So by no means do you want to be spending that extra time, pursuing what you want in life, trying to adhere to someone else's idea of what's good, or even trying to please people out there really with what you're doing. You've got to be in love with what you're doing, and it's nice that came through for you in the music, because I feel that more so than any album we've done in the past, that every member of this band was really, really keen to do this and make their mark on this. I think as the band has grown over the years, people were all realizing, the potential this band has as a forum to express ourselves, and to be able to kind of manifest your emotions into something and push them out. It's a very cathartic feeling. So we feel really attached to what we're doing, and as well as that, we're really enjoying what we're doing. It's been a nice way to stretch as musicians, learn new techniques, and learn things from each other as well. So as well as the music developing and the sound developing, I feel like we're developing both, as a collective on one hand, but also as individuals through doing it. So I find that, for the whole stuff, as a musician, as a human being, and for your life experience, this band is is one of the greatest things in my life, my personal growth. And I know that when I'm old and on my deathbed or whatever, I'll certainly be remembering the times that we've created through this project as some of the best in my life.
Oh, that's such a great thing to hear that too. I mean, obviously that time's going to come for all of us, but when you can go back and look at what you've done, especially when you create something and you're proud of what you create and you're able to go back and know that you put your whole heart and soul into it and you found the right people to be able to create that vision with you. I mean, there's no greater feeling when you're a musician.
That's it, man. Exactly. Yeah. I wouldn't want to be, doing something just for the sake of it, like something that I didn't stand behind or something that I wasn't really feeling. And I've been in those situations before, and then suddenly when you're doing that, being a musician becomes a drag because your heart's not in it, and suddenly you're not going to want to drive 12 hours to play a show or whatever. But you've got to love what you're doing, or this really isn't going to be the life for you. And I think we're very lucky in this band that we're such close friends and we understand each other. We're different from each other, but we understand each other's needs and each other's strengths and how to use those strengths for the betterment of the music and I guess the final product. The other facets like videos and promotion and touring and stuff. All feeds. So you got to have the right team, and we're great friends. I absolutely love my bandmates and all the people that are involved with that project. And again, that's just another way that you can feel fondly about it. When you look at an album and a project you did, and it's not just remembering the times you had between the four members of the band, but for example, on this new album we had a guest vocalist, Victoria Harley, who did those awesome operatic vocals through the album, and she's been so great to spend time with. It only started off as a little idea for a collaboration, but now she's been doing some shows with us, and she's just got such great spirit to things, and she's a master of her craft. And Chris, our producer, who produced the last two records, we love spending time in the studio with him. He's such a great guy. Love his company just as much as we love his work. Same thing goes to David Thierry, does the arts. All these people that are involved with the project that and like, they enrich your spirit of creating it. And again, when you look back at those times, like it all feeds your love of it. It's got to be the right folks as people, and not just for their talents.
Oh, for sure. I mean, as important as it is to be able to find the right musicians in a band, I mean, whether you're having guest musicians, whether you're having someone outside the band producing your album or mixing and mastering or doing the cover arts or whatever, doing merch, there's like so many aspects that go into it. And you want to make sure that everyone that you work with in the band and outside the band are going to be able to see that vision and be able to replicate what you're looking for, if not even make it better. And, just like looking from everything around, from the amazing artwork to the stellar production to those guest vocals that just heighten the album to another level that I didn't even think possible for this. It's just like, it's great to see that you found all of them to be able to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the secret to that is to let things happen naturally. The collaboration with Victoria happened very organically. It wasn't pre-planned that we would do that. This was actually kind of a consequence of, I guess, early days lockdown, when, after a while people sort of got back to work and it became probably less of a novel experience, and at first it was a lot of time at home, and myself and other creators that I knew, including Victoria, were kind of like looking to collaborate to pass the time, and I was already working this album. So she kind of reached out, not specifically to me, but publicly saying I'm interested in doing some recording work and collaborations. And I was working on a keyboard and orchestral arrangements for this album, and I've always wanted to work, well, for want of a better way of putting it, with a female voice. I love stuff like the kind of ambient transitions you get through bands like Wolves in the Throne Room, and so that was the original idea, was to do an outro for what ended up being the title track, Slain in the Spirit, to kind of have an ambient female voice. So we worked together on that, but what we discovered was just like the sheer power, the operatic scale of her voice, and it was like, wow, this is really something. So we loved what that did to that particular song, and it came time to record the record, and we were going to have it down to the studio to do the final takes, and we just ended up snowballing it. You know, her talent was so good, and her work ethic was so great, and such a great spirit to be around. It was really natural for her to start filling out those vocals with Anchorite, who is our bass player, who does the I guess the male voice, you know, the tenor vocals that people have become accustomed to in our music. But adding her vocals in there really just elevated those high moments to a place that we couldn't have perceived. So it's just really cool how like these things that they're not planned, but they end up being the perfect thing to do. And I think what you said earlier about the right people understanding you, that's super important. I guess the reason why I'm saying we like working with people that we get along with is because people that you can't get along with, they don't understand you. And if they don't understand you, they can't understand your vision. So there's no use trying to work with a producer that you don't get along with. It's going to destroy your experience of making that album. And they might have great mixes, but you know, it's about the experience as well. And if the experience surrounding the music is good, I think that makes the music better. You know.
Oh, I couldn't agree more on all those aspects. And yeah, getting back into that with the production, I mean, just like I love how everything does sound so clear. You can hear everything that's going on, and especially with repeat listens. Like if you're looking for more of the symphonics that are going on, if you're looking for more of the rhythms that are going on, you're able to pinpoint those aspects. I mean, because there are so many layers that are going on, but it sounds real. It sounds authentic of what's going on too. I mean, it doesn't sound like you just put everything into a computer and just made a song. I mean, it actually sounds like musicians playing with all this technical aspect that's going on. And, you know, for some reason that's become a lost art. And I love seeing that you guys are maintaining that mentality of actually making the music that you create.
Well, thank you, man. I mean, as far as everything being audible and, you know, easy to hear, and it's cool that you're able to repeat listens and strip back the layers, because that's what we like. That's what we set out to do. I personally, at times maybe a bit different now. Like a lot of people dip into an album maybe just once or whatever. I'm from a slightly older generation where I used to get like, you know, maybe a couple of CDs a month. When I was younger, maybe one a month. You know, I would really engage with that album, and you know, by the time I came to get my next CD or whatever, I'd really come to know that album and love it. And it would be listening to it repeat, getting more involved with the lyrics, hearing new things. And so because of that, you know, that way that we've enjoyed music, I suppose we want to take that approach to our creations to make sure there is a lot of depth, so that people that do engage with it, they have it all there to discover new listens. As far as it all being audible, that's all down to Chris Fielding's talents, our producer. You know, sometimes I hand over the hard drive to him. Certainly last time when we handed him the hard drive, he was opening up the files there, you know, I'd say like, I'm sorry, man, you know, there really is a lot in there, you know, like some of the songs you've got like maybe 100 sound sources, you know, when you count up the layered guitars and vocals and orchestrations. But, you know, we really work on the details. I mean, some of the symphonic stuff you're hearing, like, you know, the vocals and stuff, or like some of the organs, like they were real instruments, but a lot of this is still done with, you know, computer sequencing. But I guess that's more my trip, because I'm like super into doing that. And it's not a slow process for me. I really go the whole mile in making sure that these are played as they would by an orchestra. You know, every single instrument has its own nuances added, and it's not just penned into the grid. You know, it's either played on keyboards or manipulated to make it feel live. And, you know, study the way an orchestra works and classical music, and make sure everything is as genuine as possible, because you know, I'd like to believe that level of work went into all the artwork that I love, you know. So yeah, it's just we want there to be that depth, and for there to be that joy of discovery through repeated listens and getting more involved with the music. And it's not just a case of like, how much can we throw at this? Everything has to serve the purpose, serve the atmosphere. And I think because nothing's done like really for the sake of it, even though there's a lot going on, you know, it doesn't feel random. Like, at least I hope it doesn't. You know, I hope that everything that is done ultimately just serves the emotion in the song. And if that works, then the right listener should connect with that emotion too.
Oh, completely. And talking about yourself personally, I mean, I love the fact that you don't just focus on one instrument or being able to do one thing in the band, like because you do you are able to play different kinds of instruments and you're able to play in different kinds of bands. And I think that's so important too, when you're able to draw from different kinds of inspirations, not just from listening from them, but being able to switch from instruments. Like, what would the drums be doing? What would the bass be doing? Like there's so many different aspects that can really go into it and use that creativity a part of it. And it's great to see that you're able to do that. I mean, whether it's a symphonics or the overall song.
Well, yeah, thanks. I do consider myself these days like primarily to be like a guitar player. That's my instrument of choice when it comes to composition. But through my lifetime, as a child, I played piano, and I guess that's kind of fed my ability these days to be able to play in some keyboards and express ideas through a keyboard as well as guitar. Like, I'm not like a brilliant player on it, but I can do the work that I need to do, and with computers you can make it more complicated if you need to. But I was also a drummer for many years, throughout all my teenage years, and into my mid-20s, I played drums, and so that gave me a deep understanding of rhythm and what can be done with drum beats, and that in turn influences what is now my guitar playing. But at the same time, I've learned is I can't just, even though I'm considering these aspects when we're coming up with the songs, I can't just say to Slug on the drums like, okay, yeah, well, you got to do it. I mean, you'd argue that sometimes I do that, but you got to give the members, you got to trust them to express themselves and do things the way they want to do. So otherwise, they're going to have no fun and they won't feel that they've expressed anything. So it's all about understanding each other and guiding each other. But sure, I think having my personal experience of having played a couple of instruments and played in a couple of different sort of styles of music and with a couple of different people, like you can learn a lot from those experiences, and I think that has helped me become a stronger songwriter, and it's also helped me to look at the bigger picture of a project. So rather than just getting too obsessed with the nitty gritty of one guitar solo or one drum beat or whatever, is looking at the whole picture the whole time and just trying to examine how every facet like feeds the concept. So I think that's probably the real strength of my experience of different instruments, etc. I enjoy doing the vocals as well, but I think that's almost like a primal thing for me rather than something I work at that much, if you know what I mean. It feels more like it's a real scream of rage.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And just like we were talking about before, just like being able to find the right musicians to be able to work with who get what you're going for, and just like you said, having that matter of trust. I mean, obviously there's some bands that are there can be just like one central songwriter and like gives out the pieces and finds those people to just be able to play them. But when you have that trust level and you're able to trust them to be able to play for the song, being able to play what's going to be right for the overall sound of the band, whether it's progressing the band, whether it's staying centric to the song. I mean, there's so many different ways to go about it, and it does come down to that trust. And when you find the right people to make that happen, you make an album like this where from start to finish, I mean, like I'm very much an album guy. I love being able to listen from start to finish and see everything that's going on with it instead of just singles. So it's just like this feels like one cohesive piece that's going on that feels so natural to go from start to finish, and you wouldn't have that if you didn't have the right people behind you.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I completely agree with your experience of album listening there. It's cool to listen to a song, but sometimes a song doesn't really come into its own life until you hear it in the context of an album. I really believe that's true. And so, yeah, as we're writing, it's not like we'd start one, finish it, then move on to the next. There's usually a couple of songs going on at the same time, and they'll develop, after we thought they were finished. And in order to fit in with each other, we really want to make that full front to back journey. The track listing is important. The song that follows, it feeds off the atmosphere of the previous, whether it's a continuation or a reaction or whatever. But yeah, in terms of like finding the right people, I mean, to be honest, it's almost like the band found us, because the original core members, which are myself, Anchorite on bass and Carry on guitar, like, we were friends for a long time, especially me and Anchorite, a long time before we started this band. I've known those guys for a really long time. I know Matt well, I dropped his name there, but I know Anchorite since I was 11 years old, and Calcarian since I was 18 years old, and well, I'm 33 now, so it goes to show there's a long history there. And when Slug joined the band on drums, it's hard to find a drummer, not because there aren't enough great drummers out there, to be fair, but
That is true.
like drummers that play this kind of stuff, you're kind of limited, but he was the right guy to ask, just because when I met him, like, you just get a feeling about someone sometimes. I don't know how to put it, like their vibe, I guess. Like, I just immediately liked him. I felt this is someone I can get along with. And when you have that, the sort of, I guess sometimes, creativity, even with the best intentions, like sometimes there can be conflicts. But in this situation that we have in Necronautical, like, the friendship is so strong and the interpersonal understanding is so strong that I think we're able to get past that pretty quickly. We understand what we're each getting at, and because of that, we can influence, what each other are doing without really stepping on our toes. And we all understand that those things ultimately is just because we each want what we feel is best for the song. And I really feel that we largely agree anyway, and so that makes the process so much easier. I'd really hate to be battling resistance all the time. Everybody wants to experiment, they want to try different things. There's really not much pushback, and that makes the project feel very creatively free and very genuine as well.
Oh, for sure. And I think that alone, what you were talking about there, is simply perfected with the very last track on the album, and you get with you covering my favorite Slayer song with Disciple. I mean, like, I did not look at the track listing the first time that I was listening to the album. I love being able to just listen to it and then go back and read the notes. All of a sudden, I started hearing a riff that sounded so familiar to me, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And I love that you took, like one of the better known Slayer songs, when, just like with that thrash sound, but you made it completely your own. You were able to add the symphonics to it. You're able to add the blast to it. You're able to really make it sound like it was a song that you guys wrote. And I love it when a band can do a cover like that.
Well, thanks. I mean, we haven't really done a cover before, and the choice to do Disciple was really last minute, actually. When you first said the last song on the album, I thought you were talking about Death Magic Triumphant, because as we looked at the album at the time, like, that was the last song of our creative work, right? But the decision to do the cover song, we wanted to offer something a little different on the CD format, just to kind of diversify the forms of the album you could buy. So that's not on the vinyl release, that's just on CD, and I guess it's going to go up on streaming as well. Oh, but well, Slayer disbanded. That's one of our favorite bands, and it's also, I mentioned, like, the length of our friendship earlier. That's a band that, in the first place, almost strengthened our friendship. Like, we became friends, because of a love of heavy metal, and Slayer was a huge part of that. And the days we're talking about now, we are talking about kind of early 2000s. I was born in '88, so it's not. I can't say that I was there at the Rain and Blood tour, man. So I was the God Hates Us All tour, my first sort of time seeing Slayer. And so, like, we all, as people, have a deep affinity for that song, because I guess, that release kind of got us into Slayer, and we went backwards and heard the classics, right? So yeah, that song in particular, like, is very dear to us. I think because we already know it very intimately, it wasn't much trouble to cover it. We know its twists and turns, and we're already used to thinking in this way of, the way that we work, of, getting the best out of the symphonic elements and the best out of our vocals. And so, using a song that we know really well, it wasn't difficult to start to look at little twists you can add to that song to make it more your own, but it was still important for me to respect the original. There's not much changed in the guitars, the little things, just, it's more about changing the atmosphere into what comes out of ourselves. But a lot of the fundamentals in the song are still the same, because, we really we respect a song and a band like that, a band like Slayer. Don't want to fuck with it too much. We just added our own flavor, and a lot of people are saying a lot of really good things about the cover, and that makes us happy, of course, because you cover a band like Slayer, which is so revered and so fundamental. There's a lot that can go wrong with that, right? A lot that can you could say it might be bold to add keyboards to a Slayer song. I can imagine a lot of people wouldn't like that, but I don't worry too much about it, because I knew that our passion for that band and that song and everything was in the right place, and I feel like we did it justice too. I'm super happy with that as well. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, the entire album as a whole, I mean, just being able to listen from start to finish is just a very gratifying experience because of the songwriting that's going on, the production, the musicality that's going on without it, with everything that's going on. And I'm just so happy to see this is coming out in just a few days now. You guys have a great label supporting you guys with Candlelights, and the fact that things are slowly but surely starting to get back to some kind of normalcy, and I imagine that more shows will be able to come from this, and hopefully being able to get these songs in that live aspect, because as great as it sounds on the record, I mean, being able to play the songs in that live setting is going to be a great experience.
Yeah, we were so fortunate because we got booked for a huge festival here in the UK that just happened 2 days ago, Sunday, and then with the situation ever changing, it was so bold of the festival to push through whereas most wouldn't have. But like the government did allow it, and you have to test our entry and stuff like that, make sure there were no infectious people in the grounds. But man, it was so great to be in that environment again. There were 20,000 people at the festival, sold out. And I guess with the lack of international bands coming in, we got a really good slot because of that being a homegrown band. We got to play in the early evening on a big stage, and we played a lot of the Slain the Spirit song live for the first time. Huge show. We had Victoria doing the vocals live with us, which she won't always be able to do, but we were able to do it there. And we really invested in the show, made it as big as possible. And yeah, we didn't go with trusted old songs that people know. We went out with all the Slain songs that no one had heard. We were just like, no, we're doing this our way. And we did it. We love those songs. They went over brilliantly live. They were so fun to play. The response has been amazing for that live show. I guess it's just made us hungry to get out and do more like that. But I guess in terms of certain like bigger stuff like festivals and touring, the pandemic has had a huge knock-on effect. So I don't know what it's going to be like getting shows off the back of this. All I can say is that I'm hopeful the album is strong enough to get us noticed by the stages we want to be playing on. We've done Bloodstock, we've done Inferno Set Festival in Norway, Incineration Festival. We've travelled around a bit. We're hungry to do that. We love doing that. So yeah, I'm hopeful as much as you are that this will open some doors for us, because we simply love what we're doing, and yeah, I think that shines through in the music that we're making and the live performances that we're going to do, and hell, if it led us nowhere and we didn't get to play any more big stages or whatever, I would still feel happy about it, because we did what we set out to do musically, and that's what's important, that we stand behind our work.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. So, thinking about that, starting to get towards the end here, I know it's been a busy press day and everything, so
Yeah,
I'll let you go soon, but thinking about that as well, like obviously with the album coming out on Friday, is there anything else that we should be looking forward to, either from yourself or from the band, or anything else coming out after the album?
Okay, well, there's not like anything that's being strictly worked on just now. I guess we've been more focused on getting into gear for the live shows that we just had and that are coming up, because obviously we couldn't rehearse the live band through the pandemic, so there's been that. I don't know if you're aware, but I've also joined WInterfylleth, great UK band.
I was not aware of that. They are one of my favorite bands going. That's so awesome to see you join them.
Yeah, I'm the guitar player now. So the last sort of 6 months I've been trying to get myself live ready for them, because I'll be joining them on their tours and festival appearances, and their last album, The Reckoning Dawn, which happens to be my favourites of their albums, is a huge success for them. So there's a lot of touring for me to do with those guys. So I wanted to make sure I was going to be on form for that. So I think focusing on that, I haven't written as much, although upcoming releases, I will now be a part of their creative process as well. So we can look out for whatever impact, however big or small, I'm going to have on that band. And yeah, I get the impact. I do have really small little guitar ideas from Necronautical and things, and I don't think it will take us that long to start throwing ideas around again. But as far as stuff that's going to be released imminently, no, you've got the new Necronautical coming. But all I can say is that certainly Necronautical and WInterfylleth as well. We each love what we're doing. We're making music because that's what we want to do, and yeah, there's definitely going to be more to come. But for now, the new Necronautical is the one, man.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, and it's such a great album to be able to promote and be able to get behind. And, after this album cycle, I mean, the fact that you're a part of WInterfylleth now, and, just seeing the the rise of the band that's happening right now, and just seeing the reception that The Reckoning Dawn has gotten. It was one of my top 5 favorite albums from last year, and it's just like, it's so great to see that you're going to be a part of that and adding your style into it with the guitars. I can't wait to see how that turns out with new material. And
Me too.
yeah. And obviously, hopefully with getting everything back to normal with live shows and festival dates and everything coming in the future. I mean, it seems like it's a good time creatively of what's going on right now. I mean, being able to have a couple different bands to be able to showcase different sides of your playing, and being able to promote bands that are both continuously on the rise. And, again, with this album coming out in just a couple days through Candlelights, and it's slowly but surely becoming one of my favorite albums of the year, the more that I listen to it. And it was great to be able to spend all this time talking to you about it too, because I love being able to get the insights of an album like this and just get that much more appreciation and affinity for it. And I thank you very much for taking the time to be able to talk to me about all of it.
Hey man, well, it's been my absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed talking to you too. I'm super happy that you're into the Slain in the Spirit album. I'm also happy to hear you into the WInterfylleth stuff, and I won't lie about it. I'm happy as shit to be doing what I'm doing, both with Necronautical and with those guys, and it's an exciting time in my life. I've worked really hard many years on my music, even though anyone out there would tell you there's, it's not the safest bet. And I always kept saying, well, I'm not doing this because I want a job. I'm doing this because I want to do it. And, I really am doing it. We're really doing it in Necronautical, and really doing it over there in WInterfylleth as well. And hopefully that's just going to yield, great music that we can put out, that, I can put something back into the art form, which has given me so much joy and so much emotion and connectedness in my lifetime, same as it has for so many other people. So it's a real privilege to be able to be working on this level and doing these kinds of things. I'm super grateful about it, So thank you very much for the interview. It's been really nice to talk to you. Hopefully not last time.
Oh yeah, I mean, this has been such a great time being able to talk to you about all this, and knowing that you're part of WInterfylleth now. So now I'm very excited for the next release when that eventually comes out. But yeah, again, with this album coming on Friday, I can't wait to be able to promote it with this interview, being able to play a couple songs off the album next week for my radio show, being able to give this the proper promotion it deserves over here in the States. And yeah, again, I thank you very much for taking the time to do this. This was an absolute pleasure.
Real pleasure. You take care, Josh. All the best for everything you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.